All right, notable receivers still available. Some big names, not just guys who were star players several years ago, but guys who are currently star players. Kenny Golladay leading the charge, and some news as it relates to Golladay. The Giants and Bengals are interested, visited the Bears. Makes me wonder if they'd signed Kenny Golladay, would they strip the franchise tender from Allen Robinson? We'll be visiting the Giants today. Look, this is a guy who wants to strike it rich. This is not the ideal year to strike it rich, and he didn't play much last year. The salary cap's $25 million lower than it was supposed to be. I just I don't know where he's going to land, Charean, and I don't know if he's going to get close to what he probably would like to get, which is $20 million per year or north of it.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen, Mike. And this may be a one-year deal after he played 5 games last year with the hamstring and the hip injuries. He did think he was going to strike it rich, and I thought the Lions might franchise tag him, and they didn't. And obviously now he hasn't found the deal that he thought he would find. Bengals have a offer on the table, but it obviously wasn't good enough for him. So, what he's going to get, I don't know, but I would see it as very unlikely that he gets a $20 million per year in a long-term deal. I just don't think that's going to be possible this year. He's probably going to have to play on a prove-it deal and come back next year and try to get that big deal after he has a big year.
And that's what he should press for. 1-year deal, 1-year deal,
Yeah.
1-year deal. Don't do something that gives the team the ability to say, hey, yeah, we'll keep him around next year. He was pretty damn good, and the market's going to change, and the salary cap's going to go up. Get back to the market as often as you can. JuJu Smith-Schuster, we talked today on PFT Live how there's no news on JuJu. I wrote something after the show. No news on JuJu. Then all of a sudden, there's news on JuJu. The Jets are interested. The Steelers are interested. Look, this is a delicate spot for the agents because JuJu Smith-Schuster goes into free agency with certain expectations. Your biggest job as an agent is to manage your client's expectations. I have a feeling he's not happy with the interest or lack thereof that he's gotten. And if he'd gotten anything, reasonably close to what he wanted, he'd have a deal by now. And the fact that the Steelers are in it tells me that they know there's a chance. If he doesn't come close to getting what he wants, they could get him back on maybe a 1-year deal for a reasonable salary because they don't need him. They know him, but they don't need him. Not with the young receivers they have and their ability to draft great receivers. I'm surprised, but not surprised that they're in play. But the fact that they're in play tells me that as a firm number 2 receiver who had a chance in 2019 to prove that he can be a number 1 and failed, he's not going to get the kind of money that he believed maybe a year or two ago he was going to get.
And that was his best year, Mike, was 2018 when he had AB on the other side of him. He won the team MVP award, and it was the beginning of the end of AB in Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh may be his best option because he knows the offense. He knows Ben Roethlisberger. He had 831 yards and 9 touchdowns for the Steelers. It's a much better team than the Jets. So if you're going to go on a short-term deal and put up big numbers to get yourself a better deal next offseason, that's probably the best place for him is Pittsburgh because he can have a bigger year, I think, than with the Jets, who you don't even know who your quarterback's going to be, Mike.
Yeah, this one fascinates me. And Corey Davis has already been paid by the New York Jets. And you just wonder how that depth chart shakes out. You need a true number 1. And look, Corey Davis would have had his option picked up by the Titans if he was a true number 1. He'd still be on the Titans right now if he was a true number 1. So I'd rather have a true number 1 and a guy who can be number 2 than a couple of number 2s that I hope become number 1. Because if neither of those guys commands double coverage all the time, you basically have an extra defender running around trying to stop what you're doing offensively. So I don't know if I asked you this. What do you think the ultimate landing spot is? Let's do it for both guys. What's your gut tell you on Kenny Golladay?
Okay.
Where do you think he's going to be?
I think the Giants are going to come up with an offer that makes him happy. Obviously, the Bengals did not, or he would have already signed there. So I'm going to go with the Giants on this one, Mike.
I agree with you on the Giants. If not the Giants, then the Bengals. Maybe the Bengals spend a little bit more. I'm still concerned about the injuries from last year, although I tend to think that it was a lack of willingness to play while mildly injured without the financial security that comes from a long-term deal, and that's not uncommon. That's not judgment of Kenny Golladay. It happens, and there are plenty of agents who will tell their clients, don't you play with that borderline health condition because you don't have your long-term security. JuJu, I got a weird feeling he's going to stay in the division. I got a weird feeling like someone like the Ravens is going to see an opportunity and swoop in and get him. And if not the Ravens, the Bengals.
Ooh, that would be an interesting one. I'm going to go with the Jets because they love those ex-Steelers, right? They did it with Le'Veon Bell, and now they can do it with
and Neil O'Donnell. Maybe eventually it'll work.
Neil O'Donnell. Yeah, exactly. Keep rolling the dice, and maybe it'll work with one of them. I'm just going to go with the Jets. Throw it out there that the Jets will make the best offer to him, and he lands with the Jets.
Yeah, I just really am surprised that well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because we kind of saw this coming because he's not a number one and he wants to break the bank and he has every right to try. But, you know, the problem is if you don't fully understand the market, this is the challenge going into free agency. And I think this is why the Patriots signed so many guys so quickly. They managed to convince the agents, this is the best your guy's going to do. And if you don't take it, you're going to have some tough questions to answer when nothing better rolls around or nothing even close to being the same rolls around once the door closes the first few days. You know, the money dries up in free agency.
Yeah.
And if you overshoot and you say no before the negotiating window opens and the real negotiations happen and it's clear that you want more than anyone's going to pay, by the time you've softened your expectations, there's no money left to pay you what you would have gotten right out of the gates if you hadn't been aiming ridiculously high for what it was you were trying to make. So I hope for the best for JuJu, and I hope he gets a one-year deal and gets back to the market next year because I feel like right now that's his best shot. Same with Golladay. One-year deal, try it again next year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.